So how's it going? How's it going, guys? Let's do
Yeah,
this.
it's good. It's good. It's nice. It's nice to have you back. You disappeared for a little while.
Yeah, I think I didn't really go anywhere. I was always just around. Maybe a little bit quieter because video game development because I wanted to finish a thing
Yeah,
instead of just talking about finishing a thing. And now I'm back to just talking about finishing a thing. So we'll see. We'll see if we ever get to that magic line point.
good.
But yeah, no, it's good to be back. Thanks for asking me to be here. This is gonna be fun.
No, it's going to be good. So, I guess we'll kick off with, for people who don't know what's going on, who
Who
you are,
doesn't know
who
what
we
that
are.
means?
Hopefully they know who we are. But we go play that. We're interviewing Jon Remedios, who is the big boss man behind the Shoot Shoot Mega Pack,
That's it. That's what I make
SSMP.
everyone call me, Big Boss Man.
Big boss man. Yeah. I saw it on your Twitter bio. I was like, yeah, that's cool. Um,
Is that what it
but
says?
no.
Okay.
But we started. I mean, we have a little bit of history because way back in the early days when we formed Go Play That, we were doing a regular local multiplayer night. That the whole idea of the website kind of spun out of that because we were spending so much time having a lot of fun with our friends and playing a lot of games that we started doing this site. And I actually looked back into the archives today, and I found that we first played Sync,
Yep.
which was the prototype, I guess, before Shoot Shoot
Yeah.
Mega Pack.
Totally.
We first played that on March the 25th, 2014.
Jeez Louise. That was like
Yeah.
right after it came out. That was right
Yeah,
after
yeah.
I put that up. Yeah.
So we first played that, and obviously as a site, we've grown, we've developed, we're still here.
Yeah,
And
you're killing it.
the good news is you're still here. So could you tell us about what's been going on in the last 2 years since we
Sure.
first played your baby prototype?
Yeah, so let me think. I'm trying to figure out how much I need to actually fill in. Probably a lot. I'm gonna assume you guys and nobody actually knows anything about anything. So Sync, I'm going way back. I'm starting with Sync. Sync was
Start at
really
the beginning,
interesting because it was supposed to be like a throwaway project. It was just supposed to be something to make so I could make a thing. And then I put it up online, and it wasn't huge. Like it's not you can go to most people and be like, "Oh, you played that game, Sync," and they'll say, "Please stop talking to me." And when I saw that like you guys liked it, and I got asked to have it in like a few events. It was at the like Wild Rumpus Venus Patrol party stuff at GDC that same year in 2014. After all that happened, I was like, oh, maybe I should make this a video game. Maybe I should actually keep working on it. And so I did. And now it's like almost 2 years later, and I'm still working on that same video game about triangles called Shoot Shoot Mega Pack.
But it has evolved, right? It's evolved from what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, so the thing with Sync is Sync was like a very simple, like single mechanic game, right? You're a bunch of spaceships, one person thrusts, everybody thrusts, one person shoots, everybody shoots. And I always wanted to maintain that. Like, I think that's really, really interesting. I mean, I've made some changes to Sync quite recently, actually, because I was running into some like depth and design problems. But overall, like, I knew that I wanted games that were like Sync, where they shared like a similar philosophy to Sync, but they didn't compromise the simplicity of it, right? Because I think that's what makes that game really special. Still, to this day, I opened up the original prototype now, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? This game was great. I should have just made this. I should have just been this game. Could have saved 2 years of my life. And sorry, I don't know if this is a cuss cast, but I won't be able to
You can
stop myself.
curse away as much as you want. Yeah,
Great.
we always
And yeah, so like after I did some soul searching around like Sync, I came up with, it took a long time, but I came up with 3 other games, other like 2D asteroids inspired shooter things for 4 people to play. And that made up the core of the Mega Pack. But I don't know, because I hate myself or something, I was like, well, I can also do more. Like, what if it's not just these 4 games? What if it's more of a toy box? And so it kind of moved from just 4 spaceship shooters that you would be able to play on a variety of levels to an assortment of rules that make up those 4 games, but also you can mix and match them, or you can have the game like randomly generate them, and you unlock more rules over time and stuff like that. So
sure.
That's sort of where the game is now, and that's where the game's going to be for launch. Like it's still not a large scoped game, really. It's just a game to play with some friends with some beverages in your hands, probably, hopefully. But the idea was I don't ever really want to make a game like this ever again. So let's just see how far I can mine this, and how I don't know, how much depth is there here? What's the possibility space? Which is like still pretty small, because I'm not adding actions or anything, right? You can only thrust, shoot, and rotate, and that's true for everything. But what happens around it, that changes depending on what the rules are. So, for example, like everyone in a game called Fade, everyone is invisible, and you can only see each other when you shoot. That's just like a very common, right? So they're not all like that simultaneous player.
That's the sync thing, right? The synchronicity is all from that, and then you could have invisible ships that are synchronized as well.
If you want them together. Each of like the 4 presets, or like the 4 core games in SSMP, they all have like their own things. Like one of them is called Zoom. Every time a player shoots, the walls close in. Nothing kills you except for the walls. Like the bullets bounce you back, and kind of like a sumo match or something like that.
Right.
And then Fade, which I just talked about. And then there's one called Void, where every time a bullet hits something, it creates a black hole, and you're trying to push each other into the black holes, but you can also knock them around, kind of like billiards. But the general principle behind every single one of these games is player centric, right? Like nothing happens if a player doesn't do something. And that's like, after it took me a long time to come to that realization, that that's what I personally found interesting about Sync, which is like, if I do something, it affects you. And then every other game kind of came out of that in a different way, where it's like, if I do something, what if something else happens when I shoot? What if something else happens when I thrust? What if something happens when I rotate? And what could those things be? And where's that line that's too far for me personally? To be like, this is the same game, as opposed to this should probably just be in a different game, regardless of whether or not it's cool. And I've thrown a lot of stuff out.
Have you got any favorite combinations of rules?
Yeah, I do. I really like. I really like it when I like it when people are invisible. I think it's an interesting rule in general. But I like that with sync shots simultaneously, and player shields. So if you collide, because in sync, if you collide, you explode. But in literally every other core game, whenever you hit another person, you just bounce off of one another. So, which I think is a requirement if you want to be invisible and have a good time. But so like having shields on with like stealth ships and sync shots, because then like what happens when you shoot in Fade is you have a reload time, right? And when you shoot, you can see yourself, and everyone else can kind of see themselves, like very faintly. So they have to be paying attention or have a general understanding of where in the map they are. But then it gives every other player who's alive an advantage over the person who shot, because now they know where they are and they need to reload. So they need to move and hopefully, not be in the place where another player is shooting. And it kind of like riffs on that a little bit if everyone's shooting simultaneously, because you don't get that advantage is kind of taken away. But if you initiate a sync shot, you still have a longer reload time, but it just makes it like a way more like frenetic and frantic. But on top of that, I also like so we have stage elements in the game now too, right? So it's not just like a rectangle. There are different levels. Some have screen wrap, some don't. And some of the levels have like just these weird little game objects or whatever. And one of them that I really like is called a zap pad or a zap panel. I don't know. I haven't decided on a name. And how that works is if you fly over it, because names are garbage. Who cares?
Call it.
If you fly over,
we've seen the names of your characters. Go on.
No, those are written in stone.
I think
you
you used all your naming powers on the characters, and then you got nothing left.
Everything else,
scenery.
It's like just call it like Square Thing. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's a video game. So these zap panels, if you fly over them, you claim them, and then when you shoot, they explode. Right. So it's a way of not. So if someone else is on top of it, or a number of people on top of it, depending on the size, it'll blow up. But a really interesting thing that I didn't even consider while I was designing that was, if you're invisible, like you get a general sense of where everyone is, kind of, and you have a general sense of where you are, and especially if there are a lot of panels on the map. And then when you shoot, like all these things explode, and maybe you get caught on it, maybe you don't, because while when you claim a panel, if a panel has been claimed, you never know exactly if you're there. It's just like, it's a hard feeling to describe, but I played it for the first time with some friends, the first playtest I had for that game object, and I was happily like surprised. It was, I felt smart, even though I'm not. Like, I didn't think about it. I was like, wow, this is really clever. Someone made a really good choice, and it was nobody. It was,
and then you're in the back like, thank you, Emergent Gameplay.
Yeah.
Thank you. You made me look so cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's
it.
That's the key. I mean, with Sync as well, you had all this crazy situations happening that like one game was never the same as the next, and it depends on the 4 people who are playing. Like I play like I'm drunk, even if I'm not. Like, my biggest enemy is the walls in that game.
Totally. Yeah.
I'm the worst. But then we have other people. A sometime member of GoPlayThat, Hush. He's going to be happy that we called him out here, but he was a living legend at that game. Like, his brain got it, Yeah. He was like, yeah, I can pilot, I can shoot, I know what's going on.
How do you guys play? Are you guys like a start-stop crew, or are you just like we're just going all the time?
There'll be times where somebody's just holding down accelerate, because that's where somebody will enter, like someone will swap out, and they will know that they're able to control things if they're just accelerating the whole time.
Sure.
So they'll end up controlling the pace of the match.
Yeah.
And then you'll swap them out, and everyone's sat still because no one's really got the idea that you need to accelerate.
Yeah.
And I'm usually spinning around in a corner.
Yeah.
So I've changed that game a bit, like I briefly mentioned, to avoid that a little. So now the more people who are thrusting, the faster everyone goes.
Oh, gosh.
So it's like it's not easier. It's way harder. But it makes the problem I always had with that game, and not always, it was more of a recent problem, is just like, if you have that one person who's thrusting, which is not how I've ever played the game with people that I know, we always sort of like start and stop and have kind of like a weird ballet thing. The more people who are if you have one person thrusting, it just like removes that choice from everyone else, right? And they're just like more of reaction. So now I was like, how do you make not thrusting like an interesting action? And now sometimes, like, if someone's thrusting and they're trying to control the map, but they're really close to a wall, you can thrust and they're gonna like go like I don't know, some percentage faster than they were before. Or if a couple of people, if everyone else does it simultaneously, like that person is gonna skyrocket.
Right, because once you're accelerating, you know exactly how long you have leading up to a wall to turn. So that's no longer something you can rely on.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is getting to some esports level.
Like, oh yeah. I mean, I don't think it really comes across that way. I think I put the game in front of a lot of people, and I think everyone's just like, oh, this is fun and weird. And that's good. That's what it should be. I don't think it needs to be like I don't think it needs to be, and I don't think it is like an overly competitive game. But I also,
you've never been to Rob's house. That's the problem.
Maybe not. I'm terrible at the game, but I'm like, if there are interesting, I just want to make sure that like the due diligence has been done to be like, if somebody really wants to, maybe they could become an expert player at this game. I don't think people should. I don't think that's what this game is made for. There are way better games that like are a better use of literally everyone's time. But I think it's cool when people are really good at games they probably shouldn't be. and hopefully like that'll be my game for one person.
Yeah, or like speedrunning something that no one else would even think to play.
Yeah, like
just
Sneak
because
King.
you can.
Like,
right.
yeah, like any of those Burger King games. If you're really good at those, I mean, that's great. I think that's awesome. But also, why? What are you doing?
Because
Right,
it gives you that feeling as well, that when you are good at something like, what was the game that I picked up recently and I was actually quite good at? It was a Doom, when we were playing Doom.
Yeah.
Like, I was, for the first time, okay, I was okay at like Battlefield and stuff, but I was never like, really good. But we picked up the beta of Doom and it was just like, holy shit, I'm actually pretty good at this game. and it was really nice. And then everybody bought it on PC and I only had it on PlayStation. So it's like, now all my friends are gone. There's no fun in playing it. Right. So I did it. I never really played the multiplayer, but it does give you that warm feeling. Like Hush, again, he was so happy because we would have the gaming at Rob's nights.
Yeah.
Which could be up to like 15, 20 people in the same house, cycling around.
I didn't realize. I thought it was just like 4 of you.
No. We had like massive tournaments and all sorts of things.
Shit.
That's one of the interesting things, actually. You mentioned that you've changed the levels around.
Yeah.
We're going to have to talk to Earl about that because I don't know if you ever saw, but he wrote an entire article to the Philadelphia, what's the company?
PHL Collective.
PHL Collective, yeah. Because they made Clusterpuck 99.
Yeah.
And they had like 30 different maps on that, and he was just like, fuck your 29 maps. The first map, the boring rectangle, is just the absolute god of all the levels.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Hilarious. Yeah, that's cool. I think that's, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I am that guy too in most games, right? Like I'll find one map that is like, this is the map where play is most interesting. And I think that just like comes out of repeated play with a lot of people. But from where I'm sitting, it's just like, I don't know. I guess I have way more exposure to the game than a lot of other people. So mainly I'm just bored of that rectangle. And two, because like, I think there are a lot of interesting things, especially because levels, like the map can change, right? So you have that rule where the walls grow and stuff. Sorry, I just burped right in the microphone. It was disgusting.
I've been trying to hold back. I'll feel free to go ahead.
I really didn't want that to happen, but oh god, I don't care. I have no self-respect. It doesn't matter. So when you have levels that can grow and change, that like, to me as a designer, it's like, wow, that's interesting. What happens if you have like a cross in the middle of the level and then it grows outward, and then at some point the level has just been split into 4 quadrants, and now you have to like zip back and forth like across the screen to these different quadrants. You have like all these little mini battles, and it's like, or what if like you have a rectangle with a cross in the middle and it splits it still, and you get, and you have like telepads, which is another one of the game objects we have, and it's now you have to have like these weird teleporting battles all around. I don't know that it makes it a better game. I don't know that like a lot of these things are actually going to make it in like the final cut of the game, but I think it's like, that's where my head is at most of the time. Where it's just like, is this cool? Like, is this a good idea? And then I have to play it, and I'm like, no, this is a garbage idea. What are you doing? But sometimes it's like, oh, maybe it's got some legs. It's got a little bit here and there. And how it changes things, right? Yeah. Like, especially with sync, like walls are a huge problem. And I think sync is like actually a more interesting game if you have a more open map.
Okay.
Because with having screen, especially now that you're moving faster and stuff, it's just like a cool feeling to be able to go forever. But, and it adds a little bit more, hopefully a little bit more skilled play, or at the very least, like a little less frustration for certain players. But
I think that's the key for us. I mean, one of the big things in GAR, Gaming at Rob's, which was the multiplayer night we had, the main idea behind it was got to be enjoyable for everybody that turns up.
Totally.
There was no game on that list that you would need to know how to play video games.
Yeah.
To come and have a good time. It was all literally A to jump, X to shoot, or etc. So sync went really well, even though it was like the movement took some getting used to.
Sure.
But everybody really. So I think maybe even having that
because of the triggers. Was it because of the triggers?
No, it's just and I honestly believe. I honestly believe that like there are people whose brains accept that game, and other people like me whose brains just cannot work out. Like, I've been playing video games for 30 years, and I still look like a total like noob. Like really, like I've never touched a control pad in my life when I'm playing Sync.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think
that's interesting.
Cool.
I've actually changed the controls for the game.
Okay.
It's customizable, and there are like two basic ways of actually of rotating. It's only for rotation. That's like and I've seen this just through people playing. Like 50% of people are okay like rotating left and right, which is old Asteroid style controls, right? You have one button for rotate left, one button for rotate right. Which is why I decided to put it on the trigger, because I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it feels really good for me, or at least it felt really good for me. I haven't played with that for a while. But after like putting it in front of a lot of people, most people didn't understand that, except for like my wife, who is just to this day is like, just make everything on the triggers. They're the best buttons. But yeah, I think like a game designer, like I really respect, he played the game. He's like, this game is amazing. I have one piece of feedback for you. What the fuck is going on with the triggers? Why did you decide to put that there? Just make it on the stick. Literally everyone wants it on the stick. I'm like, oh, okay. So I put it on the stick, and people seem to prefer it. But I've also like taken that one step further, and now you can choose between just left and right rotation and absolute controls. So the joystick becomes more of an aim instead of a rotate, right? So if you want to go up, you just point up. And regardless of where your ship is facing, it will always rotate up. And that way, if you want really direct control, you can just like always keep your thumb around, like somewhere on the circumference of that circle, and it will always point.
That's a huge change.
Oh yeah, it's
a very basic level. Yeah. It's interesting that you're going with keeping them both in. I think because it does change a lot of how you perceive the game, and for us, everyone had a bit of trouble with the triggers early on, and that kind of fed into those that got it. Like I think, as well as the synchronicity between other players, it was also those that get it, those that overcome the fact that the directions are on the triggers quickly.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a really. It took me a long time to get to the point where I was able to make that concession. And yeah, I mean, it's technically still in the game. Like you can customize your controls entirely if you want. And that's just an accessibility thing. Cause I think that's important. But I don't know. I had enough people, I watched enough people play the game and just look at me with disgust after, and just not even like they wanted to like it, and they're just like, I want to play this game, and you're making it so hard for me. You're just making it you got to meet me halfway. And I would just cross my arms and say, get out of my face. You don't know what you're talking about. And that happened like 30 to 40 times, and I was like, all right, fine. I'll put it on the stick. I'll change stuff.
I will compromise my artistic vision for you. But speaking of showing your game to a lot of people, because you just came back from PAX, right?
Yeah, I did. PAX West in Seattle. It was great. I love that show.
Okay, because you went before as well. You went last year, I believe.
I did. Yeah, I went with this game last year. I also went to PAX East in April or May. I can't remember. I think it was April.
Okay. So for you, what do you get out of going to somewhere like PAX with your game? Because you see conflicting opinions on Twitter and in the people are like, oh, you shouldn't do it because it's a load of money and nothing really comes out of it. But what do you personally get from taking your project to somewhere like PAX and putting it out there?
That's a really good question. It gives me a lot. I agree with the criticisms. It is a lot of money, and I don't think that like the cost benefit analysis ever really works out for most developers, especially like of our size. But I don't know. I work alone mainly. Like, I have a couple other people helping me on the project now, but I'm the only full-time developer, and most of my days are spent like this. You're looking at my this is my apartment, which is my house. No, what? My apartment, which of course my apartment is my house. This is my apartment, which is also my office.
It's somebody else's house.
Yeah, that sounded like I didn't actually live here. This is my apartment. It's also my house. I swear, I'm not just squatting.
This is not my laundry. It's cool.
No, like I work out of here sometimes. I work out of like libraries, and I have like a desk at a university and stuff. And I don't know, I'm alone a lot. Like it's just me working on the game, and it's not easy to work on a multiplayer game by yourself. Like it's
right, yeah.
Like not even in terms of like the emotional side of it or the motivational side of it. Just like sometimes I want to test something and I can't. I don't know if it's good. And I don't know if all that past like week has been worth anything. So I mean, I get the satisfaction of actually seeing people play the game, and sometimes, like, I make changes every day of these shows. Like, I see people play, and then I notice play patterns, and I notice or bugs or whatever, and I'll go home or go to the hotel or apartment or whatever I'm staying in, and I'll fix. Like, I'll have like a small list of things that I'll fix or just want to try out for the following day, and I will see what changes and if things work out and if people don't. So I guess, you know, don't come and play any game that I'm ever working on the first day of PAX, because it's probably the worst version of that game. But I don't know, like it's validating, right? And it makes it feel like I'm actually working towards something, because it's not just about making the game. Like, it's about people playing the game, and
of course
I need that sense of like the audience is the compass. I don't know if I'm going in the right direction ever, because I make a lot of stupid choices all the time, and then seeing like what resonates with people, what doesn't resonate with people, and a lot of that stuff is nonverbal, right? So I can't just like send it to people and like get their feedback or whatever. That's the biggest thing for me. I mean, I don't think I'm going to make that money back, but I also think it's invaluable personally for me. Like, that's what I care about as a guy who makes games.
That's cool. So, I mean, obviously, you get something out if you've been to like 3 in the last 2 years. But,
I just also hate money. Sorry, I really hate my own money, and I just want to burn it. I just want to go to like a couple cities in the States and hang out in largely similar weather to Toronto.
You even have the same architecture down there. What, you got like a big tower? And
I got that's it. I walk into the city. Oh, I got a big tower. Okay, cool. It's basically Toronto.
It's grey, it's rainy, and it's got a big tower. I'm home. So, okay, Toronto then. How is Toronto looking? Because that was like the hotbed of a lot of video game developers. We talked in our previous interview that we did 2 years ago, a little bit about Toronto. So how is the scene over there? Like, still good? Is it still vibrant? Still happening? Like,
yeah, it's amazing. I think, I don't know. I'm biased toward the city because I've lived here for a really long time, like the majority of my life, except for like some times in childhood and at university and stuff. And I don't know, like unless something changes drastically, like it is going to be really hard for me to leave this place as a video game person, because we have a really strong community, like a really strong and seemingly like endlessly vibrant community. It's shifted a lot over time. Like, since I first started making games, there's been a huge shift, but there's like more people doing really cool stuff than ever before. And like a good like eclectic mix of, you know, we have Ubisoft here. That's our only AAA, really. We have like one Ubisoft. But then we have, you know, people of like MyScope and people in between, like Cappy and like MetaNet. Like, they just released N++ for Steam. And just like all, like every point of the spectrum. Just really cool, like more art focused stuff, like interactive art that kind of is within the same sphere of more commercially video games. And they're great to talk to, and like some of my favorite people in the city are those people, like the people who aren't trying to sell video games or anything. They're just trying to make something interesting, and then get an art grant for it or whatever. So I don't think anything's really changed. It doesn't seem to be slowing down. At least not yet. I mean, video games are still hard to make, and we'll see where we're at in like 5 years or whatever. But
it is interesting, actually, reading back through the old interview that we did. I asked you back then about like the 5 games you were looking forward to coming out, and it's interesting because Earl wanted to ask a fairly cheeky question. He was like, just ask John what the hell is taking so long, you know?
Sure.
That was his way of putting it. But then I noticed
totally.
in the 5 games that you gave me in the interview, it's like only 2 have come out, and that's like those
what
are
did I
really
say?
recent. You said N
N++, yeah.
N++, which recently came out on Steam.
Yeah, it came out. It came out on PS4 a while ago.
Yeah.
And Alone with You just came out, like literally 2 weeks ago or something.
Yep. And then you said like Below, which got delayed, so that's not
Below
out
is
yet.
still delayed. Yeah.
You had the Highwayman, Will O'Neill's game, which
That's still not out. Yeah, Will's working on a lot of cool stuff. He changed the name of that. Yeah, he's doing a lot.
He's doing a lot of stuff.
Too.
I know he's busy.
Yeah.
He was working with the Vagabond Dog team as well, wasn't he?
Still is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was at
doing
PAX.
the big US tour, and
Yep.
it's looking like a crazy thing to do. So yeah, it's good. But it's interesting. Like Earl was like, going, like ask him what's up. Why is it taking so long? And I'm like, dude, like all the games that we were talking about 2 years ago, there's literally like one got released already. So
yeah, some people like ask me if there is like a common thread in the games in Toronto, and my only answer is like, oh, they just like usually take a really long time. They just usually, I don't know why that is. Maybe there's just like a high quality bar or something here, and everyone's really scared to put out shitty work or something. But it's there's like such a wide variety of different types of games, but most of them take forever.
Yeah, and we're still, we're just sitting here like, okay, come on, where is it? So you did mention in the previous answer as well. You mentioned that you're the full-time developer, but you have some other people working with you. So I guess that brings us to the big news that you've formed a studio, I guess. Yeah.
So I've always technically, since I went full time on the game in February 2015, and that I've technically been a studio since that point. But I there was like an identity crisis as for like what is this? Like, is it a corporation that exists around me? And for a lot of, like, for the previous 2 PAXs, I would show the game and I would show it as Jon Remedios. And over time, I mean, like, I'm into me. I get it. I like me. I know why I made the choices that I make, but I think like I got weirdly unsettled. That was a joke. Sorry, I don't know. I didn't really use the inflection of a joke.
It's fine. We know. We will put a disclaimer at the end, like, by the way, the T-shirts is a joke. The whole
no, it's great.
narcissism thing.
I don't care. I gotta write it. It's easier to be a villain. I became like sort of unsettled at the idea of working on a project with people, and I mean, I do the majority of the work, and I'm not saying that to be a jerk. I just like put more time in it than other people. Their work is just as valuable as mine. They just have other projects and stuff. And I didn't like the idea of, in a way, just taking all the credit for that, right? Like, I think it's kind of gross. It's a collaborative medium, and I think I could have put this game out by myself if I really wanted to. I think it would be a worse game. And I wanted to have a different identity to kind of release it under that wasn't just me. And so after like 2 years almost, I came up with a name, and it was Actual Humans. And I'm very happy with that name, and I'm very happy with our logo.
It's a cute little logo, I have to say.
Thanks.
But you've rendered our T-shirt fanboyism obsolete here, so You know,
oh no, it's
kind of,
fine. So Jon Remedios is a narcissist. That's still going to show up all over the place. Like I'm still going to do solo side projects, and that's it. You just have to buy more T-shirts. You can buy
just
a
buy
T-shirt
more
with a happy
T-shirts,
little mug
definitely.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Because seeing that you're working with you got some quality people behind you, in the studio, no? Because you're
sorry,
like,
you cut out during your entire question, so I have no idea what you just said.
That's perfect. It was a rubbish question anyway, and I'd like to retract it from the interview. No, I was saying that I was just asking about your sexual preferences. Cool. No, I mean, I was asking about the other people that are working with you in your studio, because you have these actual humans. So who are the other humans that we should be looking out for?
Yeah, totally. So I'm technically the only actual human. That is not the point of it. It's not just like a misnomer to make it seem like there are more people working under me. But right now the studio is technically still just me. But there are other people. There are honorary humans, I suppose, who are working on the game. And I've been working with Gavin McCarthy, who is a very talented artist and illustrator out of Toronto. He comes from like a print background and has done a lot of like stories and stuff like that. But he most recently he was an artist on Alone with You as well, which is one of the games that I was looking forward to.
I've literally just started that, by the way.
Cool. Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah. Okay.
And the other honorary human on Shoot Shoot Make It Back is Ryan Roth, who is great and helps me out at all the events and stuff as well. And he is doing audio design on the project. So, and his like resume is super huge. He's
done every indie game that we've liked in the last sort of 5
okay,
years.
so yeah, you're familiar. Yeah, he did like the Beginner's Guide and the Yogg and Starseed Pilgrim, and Yogg's amazing. So he's the best, and those guys are really helping out. And I have like a lot of other people who just help out with testing and feedback and stuff too.
Mini humans, I guess you could say.
Just mini humans, just want to be humans.
I would love to see the design brief you gave, Gavin, when you were like, okay, it's just triangles, bitch. Go do some art.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, he had like a lot of the answers had already been solved in terms of like what the game kind of looks like, and he squeezed in and was like, cool, I think we can like punch this up here and there, and a lot of the animation, like there aren't like quote unquote animations, but there's like when you shoot now, like the ships like squish a bit, and they're like it all feels a little bit more tactile, and there's like a delay, a little bit of a delay to the shots because I was playing a lot of Bloodborne, and that's the only reason why it's in there. And it just like things have weight, and I think the game. I don't think the game looks that like it looks. It obviously looks different. Like it looks way better than it did in the original prototype, but the same. It's still just triangles, But the things like his work, and he's not. I don't think he's going to get a lot of credit for like the artwork he's done on it, because everyone is going to look at it and be like, "It's just actually triangles. What did you do?" But he has like really. It's
going to be the easiest job on your CV.
Absolutely not. I am a horror to work with. Like I don't think if you. What's the easiest job? He would not say shoot, make a pack. Because we go back and forth a lot on how these stupid triangles look. And
it's just screaming in the house like some Glengarry Glen Ross style.
That's it.
Rage about your triangles.
I'm a tyrant. That's me.
Okay, so this might be a bit more of a difficult question. I didn't know about asking it.
Try me.
Okay. When it comes to it, I mean, like, have you ever worried that by taking so long with the development and everything like this, that you might like miss the peak of the local multiplayer thing?
Oh, I already missed it.
That seems like you already missed
it. It's gone. I already missed it. No, I know that. I know that for a fact. I just don't really care anymore.
That's cool.
Like it's, yeah, I definitely know that there is less of a demand for these games than there was when I first started working on it. I think even if I released it like within that year, it would have been too late, honestly. I don't know.
I don't know. I think
don't really know
the
how to feel about
prototype was
that.
out. Yeah.
Just before, just like right around the same time. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
think
I would
like,
say so. A lot of the big hitters came out, like the famous ones that are getting a lot of acclaim.
Yeah.
Around that time, like you came out right around the same time as Gang Beasts when their first
True.
iteration popped out. You know.
That's fair. Yeah. We were both in. That's right. We were both in the that party at GDC together.
Mm-hmm.
The Venus Patrol Wild Rumpus thing.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think about that a whole lot because this was never really supposed to be a money-making game for me. This was sort of just like a game that I started and I want to finish it. And I want to finish it to a level of quality that I am proud of.
Sure.
Because I've worked for other studios before and I've shipped games before and I have yet to be happy with something that I shipped. Now maybe you can never be happy with something you ship and that's fine, but I at least want to have the sense that, you know, like I saw it through, like it was fully realized, as opposed to just like a business decision, which I need to make too. Like I'm not a like some weird integrity driven saint or anything, but just like who just really wants to make perfect video games. I don't know. It just felt like that's sort of how it started. I wanted to make a thing in a game jam that I was proud of. And then after that, it's everything else just followed suit.
Cool.
But nobody's going to buy it, so it doesn't matter.
I think I don't believe that for a minute. And I think that there's still a big community and a big sort of identity behind local multiplayer. I don't think it's going anywhere. I just, I feel even for the work that we've been doing as well, it's like, okay, we had different issues, like we ended up moving to like 5 different countries. Some people had babies, this kind of thing. So of course the amount of local multiplayer that we can easily play is not the same. But at the same time, there's still games being produced every day. There's still stuff coming out that's really good. And I think at least co-op, like split screen co-op, at least has come back to the like big platforms. Like I remember on the 360 and the Xbox One, you couldn't even play split screen on a lot of games. Yeah, they're like, no, go and buy 2 systems, 2 controllers, 2 copies of the game. Like, give us your money. Now it's like, okay, now we have split screen. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, I just wondered if it was like sort of a worry for you, being like, shit, maybe 2015 was the year.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. Yeah, I think about it sometimes, but then, I mean, what am I going to do? Not finish the game? Like, that's...
No, please do. Go
back in time, John.
Huh?
Fine, I won't finish it. You got me.
Now it's all about,
it. Go play that exclusive. Shoot Your Mega Pack canceled. Done.
Don't.
Quote, they drove me to it.
One question.
They realized my worst fears. Yeah. So we're gonna sort of wrap it up in the next sort of couple of questions. One thing I wanted to ask you, because I really enjoyed, and I am not a game developer in any way. I have not even the faintest idea. I just like games. Cool. But I listen to all of your Shot in the Dark podcast.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yay! For people who don't know the Shot in the Dark, this was basically you sort of talking through the development of Sync and SSMP, right?
Kinda. I mean, I think it was more me talking through my neuroses.
But it was, audio catharsis.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of that. Yeah. I really want to go back to that. I just have to figure out how to make that work in my life. Just because it takes a lot of time. You guys know. You guys do web stuff, and
we do a weekly podcast.
It's supposed to be easy, and it's not.
Yeah. Luckily, we have Rob, who has no life, so he just stays up all night editing shit. So it's fine.
Oh, Rob, no, you seem good. You seem cool, man. You seem like you have a very brimming life around you. Brimming life? I don't know. Something. It's vibrant.
Yes.
Sorry, was there a question there? I know I interrupted you.
No, I was going into the question, which was basically...
Is it coming back?
Because it was cool. You know, it was really funny as well. It would crack me up.
Thank you.
But I was wondering, like, okay, maybe even if you don't go back to it, would you consider resurrecting it as like maybe a post-mortem after the game's out?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this a lot, and I'm trying to figure out a way to like bring it back for like the very end of development. Part of the reason why I had to step away from it, like I said, was it was just a lot of work, and it was sort of affecting like development in general. Just because I'm slow. If it takes me this long to make a video game, what do you see how long it takes me to make a podcast? Jeez, and I mean, I enjoyed doing it, and it was fun for me. But there's also, I have life. I have things that I need to take care of. Just so many bills to pay. Podcasts
do not pay the bill. We know this,
but no, they do not. But the other thing on top of it was just like I got really wrapped up, sort of in like the dark spiral of game making, and then kind of the podcast was acting as almost an amplifier for that. So it wasn't like part of it, like the original intent was like work for a week, see what you're thinking about, see what problems you're running into or whatever, and then throw it out there. And just like, it was a way for me to work through those problems. Right. And then as it kept going, and as I like was sort of steeped in my problems, it wasn't serving as that anymore. If anything, it was just like, oh no, now I just feel like bad all the time. I'm never going to finish this game. Oh my God. And it's just a 12 to 15 minute podcast of me screaming and crying. So I don't know. Yeah. I'm still trying to figure out how to do it in a way where it's good and useful and interesting to listen to, but has a bit of a lower impact on my side. And during the end of development is the worst time to do it, but I'm sure there's somewhere in there. And maybe it's like an every other week thing, or maybe it's just they're shorter, or maybe I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know the answers to that, but I do want to document sort of the end and the release of the game and the post-release of the game in some way. And I that's the one that's most interesting to me, just because I like to talk. I like to hear my voice. I don't know.
Maybe you just need to, I don't know, drop the Toronto quality idea of the podcast. Like, just record it on your iPhone and like throw it out there. Like, then okay, like
maybe.
We use Mixler as well. It's just like, we've got like several hours of Rob talking on the way to the metro in the morning with the cars and the traffic in the background. It's like, hey, that's fine. It's cool,
God,
different
I wish
product.
I had your confidence.
I wish I had Rob's confidence.
I'm not sure what confidence is what's causing that. That's just ignorance.
Morning drinking is what's causing that. But
yeah, just drunk all the time. That's perfect.
Yeah,
straight I never thought of that. I should have.
That won't help you. Don't like
this. Yeah, this wouldn't have accelerated things.
This is headline number 2. SSMP canceled. Also, Jon Remedios, famed alcoholic. Quote,
advice of
they drove
doctor.
Me to it.
Yeah. So we'll wrap it up. We'll let you get back to your busy life. Just a couple of like little fluff questions, because otherwise it wouldn't feel like a proper interview.
All right.
Yeah. What are you playing at the moment? Shout us out some games that make you happy, if you have time to even play.
What am I playing?
And if you are playing, why are you playing? Why are you not developing?
I don't know that I'm actually playing anything right now. Look, I think Alone with You is I haven't finished it yet, but that's the last game that I started. But before that, Nothing. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't
Bloodborne,
played a video game for a long, except for Bloodborne. Yeah, Bloodborne was great. But I just still play Bloodborne. But yeah, that's the first game that I've played that I picked up in most of 2016. I haven't played very many games this year because I'm too into me, you know. I'm just really into all of this.
Were you playing a lot of the Were you playing a lot of the local multiplayer stuff back in 2014 just to see what's out there, or was it kind of just you would absorb that through what people were saying?
No, I played Samurai Gun. I played a lot of Samurai Gun when it came out, but that's about it. I've played I guess my fair share of Nidhogg, and I never really got into Towerfall. Oh god, I love Nidhogg so much. I never really got into Towerfall. I know that was sort of probably
you're basically condemned as a heretic.
Wave.
You know, right now.
Yeah, I guess so. I think it's good. I don't think it's a bad game. I just haven't really arrows. I don't really care that much about archery.
Okay, interesting aside then. What was better for you about Samurai Gun than Towerfall? Because Samurai Gun was one of our faves until Towerfall happened, and then Towerfall seemed to just wipe it out.
Yeah, I think there's a purity to Samurai Gun that I really, really like. It is. And this is going to sound hilarious because I've basically spent the past, I don't know, X number of months / year doing the exact same thing to my game. But I think Towerfall has a lot of stuff, right?
Right.
And Samurai Gun doesn't. It's you can choose your character, but it doesn't matter. You only have a few actions, and how those actions interact in a very interesting way. But there's not a lot. There's only 4 different worlds, and the worlds are just different configurations of a small collection of game objects. So it's not you don't have. There's no cognitive overload to that game at all. It's what the game is, and then you just play it, and you can get really, really deep into it. Whereas Towerfall is a little overwhelming to me, I think. There's just a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in there, and I think it all works together really, really well. But I don't care about most of it. And some of it I just find hard to use, like mirror arrows. Just screw
Bramble arrows.
Yeah.
For one. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Interesting, because I do agree with you, but majority vote and everything. We saw a lot of Towerfall.
Yeah,
Towerfall does a good job. Sorry, Towerfall does a good job of showing you what the core is, having options, kept away in a menu.
Yeah,
to let those that stick with it to try things out. And we've done things like we've turned all the modifiers on and had a terrible match because it's not. We've tried to make something ourselves, whereas the developer is just telling us, we've created something worse than what the developer is just saying, hey, here's the game.
Yeah. I think.
But it sounds like we can do that with YouTube Megapack soon,
You 100% can. You can make a terrible, terrible game with YouTube Megapack, as I have many, many times. I don't know. So the thing is, I'm thinking about this more I don't know where the line is, though, for me personally. Because I think, I don't like Gang Beasts very much. It's not really, I don't dislike it. I think it's a fun time, but I think there's not enough stuff in that game for me. There aren't really interesting interactions.
Okay.
There's sort of just it's like a wrestling simulator, and I like that. It's fun, but it's not, I don't like it in the same way that I like that in a way where I'm 8 beers deep and I'm playing Gang Beasts, and that's what that game's.
We had exactly the same. I mean, we've always said that it was never better than 0.0.01, the release.
Sure.
The first version.
The first version that we got, the alpha-ist of the alpha, was just the best.
Yeah.
And every successive iteration has gone, for us personally, I mean, I'm sure other people are still having a hilarious time with it, but for us personally, we could never get back to that first. Like you say, 6 beers deep, and just I'm a drunken jelly man punching another drunken jelly man in the face.
Yeah, and that's what the game is still, I think, but I don't know. It's hard to keep up that novelty or whatever. Whereas I can I don't think like anything has to be done to Samurai Gun forever, and it's still like that's a game that I continue to go back to and play with my friends.
Cool.
Should be playing my game. God damn it.
Yeah, god damn it. Okay. A question from Earl. He would have loved to be here, but he's, fathering 2 young babies at the moment. Are you still playing Miitomo because you were the best thing on it?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I haven't.
That was Earl. That's not me. That's
No, that's my phone stopped working. And then I got a new phone and I just never reinstalled it. That's the only good reason that I have. I love Miitomo. I think it's one of the greatest weird video game things in the world. And I actually was thinking just the other day, I'm like, I should reinstall Miitomo. But I know that, again, it's one of those things where if I reinstall Miitomo, it's going to ruin my life. Like, it's just I'm going to get like way too deep into it. Like when I first got it, I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. And I answer stupid questions and then buy stuff and put on a new costume and then take a stupid picture of myself and put a Miitomo in it next to me. But there's so much space, so much room for potential for great Miitomo photos. I think still, I don't think it's been like exhausted because I feel like no one else gives a shit except for me.
No, but you did take it to another level. Like I tried to emulate you, and I'm like, that was a really cool picture. And then I would go out and try and take one, and it would just look shit, and I would delete it. Like, how does he do this magic? Like,
yeah,
I tried to put my little Miitomo riding a cat. It didn't work. It just looked like a Miitomo stuck on the side of a cat. There's an art to it, definitely. But it's like we've all deleted it, I guess. I think Rob, you've also deleted it.
Yeah, it's still there, but I haven't launched it since the first 2 weeks or a month that we played it. Yeah,
yeah, totally. I'm bringing it back.
Bring it back.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
Cancel. So to-do list. Cancel SSMP. Become alcoholic.
Bring back Miitomo.
Relaunch the fortunes of Miitomo. I like it. Step 4, profit. You're there.
I didn't think that was going to be my legacy, but I guess it is. I guess this is where I'm going now.
It's a shame he died so young from, cirrhosis of the liver, but hey, he left us with a legacy of just fucking amazing Miitomo pictures.
I think
nobody can get into his iPhone.
Is my favorite. I don't know if you saw that one, the one where I had it was like an over-the-shoulder shot of the Miitomo holding a pencil, and then or a pen or whatever, and there was a little piece of paper with a drawing of my face, and I was sitting like below the Miitomo as it was drawing my face.
No, I didn't see that one, but I might have to reinstall just to see it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. That is my opus. Okay. That is the only thing I've done in my life that matters.
This is your night watch.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I think we can probably wrap it up there.
Yeah, we've got a profound discussion.
I think I do have way more to ask you, but it's all sort of like, boring stuff.
What is it? Throw me,
it's just stuff about
how much mayonnaise do I like on my sandwich?
Yeah, that's the kind of question that I like to read in an interview. I like to get to the nitty gritty. But no, we're going to skip all the stuff about funding and how you live day to day, and sure. How you don't.
Let's keep that a mystery.
Exactly. Yeah. Selling prints of your Miitomo photos online. So
that's it.
Yep.
Oh, you found me out. There you go. Question answered.
So yeah, I guess we can wrap it up and say you're looking at an early 2017 release. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Early next year, between January and March, I'm hoping. Steam release first, and then PS4 and Xbox One soon to follow.
Ooh, all right. Because you got greenlit really quickly, didn't you?
Yeah.
So you're all in there. You're fine.
They want it. They can't get enough of them tries.
But yeah, so SSMP, Shoot Megapack will be out early. Are we talking Q1, Q2? Let's put it in a new terminology
no, we're doing
here.
We're going to do Q1. Let's go
Q1.
Q1.
All right. All right. I am moist
Unless I say
excitement.
otherwise in Q1. No, it'll be there.
Cool. All right. And you say it's PC, it's going to be PS4 and Xbone later?
Yep.
All right. Covering all the bases.
Nice.
Yep.
Did it.
That means Rob can buy it 3 times.
Yeah. And if anyone wants to like keep up with development or whatever, there is a website, ssmpgame.com, or if you haven't seen the game before, because I presume a lot of people haven't seen the game. ssmpgame.com, and there's Twitter and Facebook and stuff. And the studio also has all that business at actualhumans.com. I think that's it. There's my plugs. That's great. Yeah, that's what I'm here for. Sweet plugs.
Yeah. But cool. Thank you very much for talking to us. It's been
hey, no, pleasure. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate this. It's really good to actually like see your guys' faces.
Yeah, wearing your little fanboy t-shirts. It's You know, here's something I wasn't going to tell you. I'm going to tell you because maybe we don't leave it in the interview, but just to get this joke,
the only part of the interview. This is the whole interview.
Just to get this joke going here, I've been sat in a mostly wet t-shirt for the last hour because I accidentally washed it this morning. I was like, "Fuck! I need that t-shirt for tonight for the interview."
Oh my god, that's amazing.
It didn't dry in time, so I just screw it.
Get like a weird rash. I don't think that's good. I don't think you should be doing that.
I'm going to be so itchy later. But yeah, that's we care. That's what we like to say. Okay. But yeah, cool. So let us know when hit us up when you've got more t-shirts to sell. We'll buy them. Video games to sell. Cool. And we'll talk soon.
Cool. Yeah. Let's do that.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
See ya.